Hey, 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 welcome to another Valley Forged. And yeah, it's a good day. I guess any day that you get to play with your laser and make stuff is a good day. At least it is for me. So if that's the kind of thing you're into, of course, like and subscribe, all that kind of stuff. It's what I do. I'll teach you how to make stuff and start a business if you want to. This is what I do full time. I only play with lasers and go on vacations. That's pretty much it. So the Lord's Prayer Cross, definitely my best-selling item, and I can understand why. The very first one I made, literally my mom just looked at it and said, "That's mine." And it's still on the kitchen wall right now. And I was just there the other day and still sitting there, looking beautiful. And that was just a regular wood one. It was the first one I made, and it wasn't with a stand. It looked just like this one, except for a little bit bigger, and it was wood. And that's generally how I was making them, even just flat sitting on my table selling it. Everybody loved it. I bought sold lots of them. That you just put a little nail right between the I and the T there in the middle, and it'll sit on the wall perfectly. Looks great. But for displaying it for shows and things like that, I realized it needed a stand. So I made a stand, and so the current file that you'll get comes with a stand, and it works great. It works great with a 1/4 inch with the stand, right? But a lot of people's lasers, you got a 10-watt laser. It's harder to do with 1/4 inch. The flat ones work really good against the wall. In 1/8 inch hardwood MDF, core, fine. I'm speaking to the choir here. Probably like 800 people watching this already have this file. Again, it does have a very good reputation, and it is done very, very well for me. But it's maybe not the easiest to give as a gift. Maybe it's difficult when you have it with the base to have a bunch of them together, or to mail it. Sometimes having it in the frame here, this is more of a shadow box frame, super easy to sell. It's done. People can just pick it up. They can give it to somebody. They can do whatever. And it works really great. Hang it on the wall. Looks marvelous. And it's very cheap. As a matter of fact, I sell the large ones that I make. If you buy this, it comes in 2 sizes. And you can get this both in my best sellers pack and or just by itself, right, through my Etsy. And either way, you're going to get 2 sizes that do come with a base, and there's a video explaining exactly step by step how to make this, and a lot of people have used it, and it works great. So now specifically for this video, so you can watch the other video, I'll put a link below for that if you want to make it with the base. And that's in the Etsy description if you're going to go buy it anyway. But this particular video is going to be how to do it very inexpensively in a shadow box frame. And I typically sell this for, say, $35, $40, and you can get these frames very cheap. You can end up making this pretty darn cheap if you want to. And again, it's something easy to put in a store or to sell to somebody or to give as a gift. I do it both in gold and black, or I do it in white on white with a black background. Both look phenomenal, but of course there's, as many ways as you can think of to do this. This is just the easiest way, but I have done some in wood with different frames. Like if you have a wood frame, you can match that up with an actual piece of wood. It's just generally going to be more expensive to do it that way. I'm typically doing these with MDF because nobody's ever going to touch it, and it's going to be painted. And so it's easier to work with. It's cheaper. It's consistent. So let's just get to it. Enough talk, right? You're going to need the file. First thing you're going to need. And you're going to look at it. It comes with the two sizes. Pick the one that says small. And you're going to see that that one is about 7.5 inches by 11.5 inches. So the actual frame that we're going to be using for this, I get from Michael's, but you can get it from a lot of different places. I think it just works a lot better with a semi-shadow box kind of thing. And this comes in a 2-pack, and you see that price. That is not the price. Because if you sign up for their, whatever thing, you end up getting discount coupons all the time for this. It goes on sale all the time. A lot of times you get it, buy one, get one free, which means 4 of them for the price of 2. There's a lot of deals that you can get. Plus, the more you buy, you end up getting like these rewards. So you'll, buy a couple and then you'll get one free that way. It works a lot. But as it says right here, and you can see, if once you get to making these and say you're going to make a lot of them, you can go this way. Now, this way, it's around $7 per frame, which I think is very reasonable for 11 by 14 shadow box frame, is $7. The lowest I've ever gotten it is $5 because basically they have sales sometimes that is, for this type, that is buy one, get 2 free. And at that point, you're really going to save some money, and I try and stock up. That only happens once or twice a year, so I wouldn't wait for that. Just sign up for their thing, get their, they typically will have 30-40% off coupons that they send you, and just use that, buy this, or wait till it goes on sale, buy one, get one free. I wouldn't go ahead and buy this many of them until this is something you want to do. So that's the first thing you need. You need the file, and of course you need the frame. And again, you can resize it to whatever frame you want to. You can use wood or MDF, but again, I'm using MDF with paint. I think it looks the best. I mean, if you see here, this white on white, I guess it's a little glary, but it really, really looks good on the wall. And the black and gold really, really look good. So I think that's the way I would go with some MDF. So what you're going to have to do, I'm just going to go ahead and list all of the things you need right now, and then we'll get on to it. Gold or white paint, if you're going to go that direction. Sticky velvet. So what I'm using is the velvet I'm using this self-adhesive velvet flock backing paper. And this works great. I was buying velvet from the craft store, and you can get it at a reasonable cost. The thing is that gluing that on is just a pain in the butt. And also, after I glued it, sometimes it would have ripples, have things like that. After trial and error, which hopefully I can save you all some money and some time, I started getting this velvet flock. And what you could do is take the glue off. You cut a section a little bit bigger than the cross itself, or the backing itself here, and just put it on there and use a squeegee, and a little plastic squeegee. I'll show a picture, and I just squeegee it on, and it works great. And if you make a little mistake, it is somewhat forgiving to where you can lift it up gently, of course, and you can squeegee it back down. So this has worked really, really well for me, and I think it's great on a variety of projects that you make, but in particular, works really nice for this. So you need the squeegee and the sticky velvet. I use a little centering cross, and I'll show you guys how to make that, just so that you can get it in the center very easily, and that's totally optional. You can just use a ruler, you could use whatever, you could use your eyes. It's not that difficult, but for me, I found that to work. Clear glue and scissors so that you can cut off the excess. I have like a roller cutter that I use. But you could use a regular pair of scissors, just something so where you can cut off the edges. You really don't see the edges anyway, because of the way that the frame's made. It kind of covers that up. But you will need a way to cut off the edge. I guess an X-Acto knife would do it as well. I would advise you to have some bubble wrap. Once you get finished with this, you're going to want to protect it and keep it from getting scratched up. So something to think about. I have ruined these in the past because I stack a bunch up and then get hit by something. So now I just bubble wrap them all. And since I've done that, I haven't had any issues. So that's about all you need. It's not a ton of stuff, and a lot of it is useful for other projects that I'll be showing you as well. And again, all of these links will be down below. So the file itself, very easy file. The settings are up to you. I don't want any comments saying, hey, I bought this file and the settings are wrong. I want everybody that's learning lasers, settings are on you. You have to practice. You have to make sure that you've got the settings correctly for what you're making. And what I would suggest is to cut out small things and just make sure. And then I would actually slow down the speed just a little bit from that, just to make sure everything cuts out, because there's a lot of little tiny pieces. Now, I suggest that you go no slower than 280 millimeters per minute when cutting. And this is to prevent fires. It's also to prevent too much heat buildup in small areas. This is just my personal feelings. I always run air assist, and I always run it at least 280 millimeters per minute, preferably 300. Now, what happens if your laser isn't powerful enough to cut this 1/8" MDF in one pass? Well, then just do 2 passes rather than lower that speed. Again, this is just my suggestion. I think things come out better that way. Running at 100% power on a diode laser, I've never seen one burned out or even lose power myself, so I wouldn't worry too much about that early on. We were always nervous about running it at 100% power, but most laser modules seem to work just fine. So enough of that. I want to get to cutting. So what do we got to do? This is the file. Now this file, of course, is made for your base. And this part little below the green line here is to go into this base. So we don't want that for this particular application. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to delete the base. Now, what happens if you get this file and you click on the base and everything lights up? Well, of course, you're going to have to hit this ungroup. So right here, you'll see group and ungroup. Make sure everything is ungrouped. You're going to select the base, get rid of those. And then this green line, see how it's separate right now at 3030 power. There's my settings, of course. Only leaves a score line so that I can tell how deep I should be putting that into the base and make sure that it's even, right? Well, we want that cut off now. So this, you would just take these green lines. You can hold shift and you can click on these, or you could just click and change them one at a time if you want to. But then what you want to change them to is red, or the same color as everything else. See, now everything there is one color. Looks like I still have a few pieces here that I missed. So we'll go over and take those. Just make sure you got them all, because we really want this all cut. There, now this is all cut lines. So this below the amen here is all going to be cut off. In fact, it may be easier just to select the entire thing and then just hit the red button so that it's all one, the number 2 here, just to make sure everything is going to be cut. And then all you got to do is cut it out. Hopefully you can find some 1/8" MDF. cut that sucker out, and I like to do a little light sand on the front side of the MDF. I think it just lays the paint down better. Not as necessary with the gold as with the white. That gold paint, man, that cold metallic paint just seems to really go on easily and well. One coat usually does it, but I usually do two anyways. And now you've got your gold cross. You've painted it. You've got it. It's ready to go. I mentioned earlier that I use a way to center it. And how do I do that? What I typically do is I make an outline cross. It doesn't have to be perfect. It will have to be a little bit or the same size as it. Can't be smaller. But other than that, it doesn't have to be perfect. And so I'm going to change this to black. I'm going to use the square. I make a square going one way and then a square going the other way. Now you can adjust this, make it perfect, just a little slightly bigger. Just make sure it's equal in all directions. Like so. See, now you take another piece of scrap material or MDF or whatever. I try to make it the same size as the case. So if you have one that's 11 by 14, I make a square that's 11 by 14. Just put 11. Make sure this is unlocked. So this little lock thingy, you want to see it can turn on or off. If it's off, then you can just do it however you want to. And so in the end, we're going to center that. But the first thing I'm going to want to do is delete. So now we're going to turn off the red. So now that's not going to cut. And we're going to make sure we got our air on here. And all we'll have to do is to make sure this is centered. And that looks pretty center. But you can put it however you want. And now it's ready. So you just put your wood down and you cut this out. And you're going to have something that looks like what I'm going to show in a picture here to be able to use to center it. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick that I wish I would have known a long time ago. And it would have, in designing things, and it is going to save you so much effort and really be a game changer for you if you don't know this. Now, I didn't know it for years, so click on both of these rectangles that I made. So make sure they're both selected. All right, they're both selected. Now, there is no reason to be cutting out this box here because all we want is the outside. It'll work fine if you don't do this. But if you go over here and you see weld all selected shapes together, click that. Bam! Now it just leaves the outline. That is so game changer for a lot of designs that you might make. Okay, so now if you've cut this out, you've got a great way to just, all you got to do is sit it on top of the velvet, glue the back of the cross, and then put it down, and it should be centered. And this is just the way I do it. There may be a better way. Feel free to leave any comments in the descriptions to say, oh, okay, well, I did it this way and it's better. Love to hear it. This is just the way I've been doing it. I've made probably about 60 or 70 of these so far. They sell super well, especially for Christmas or, you know, church gifts or whatever. I've done a few shows at churches, been absolutely fantastic. And if you're already, like a lot of you are, already selling a bunch of these, this is just going to be one more way for you to present. You can make really big ones, which I have done as well. You could get the much bigger frames They go on sale quite a bit. Whenever they're on sale, I try and pick some up because they could be as much as 50, $100, right? So of course your prices are going to change, but maybe you want to make a really large gift. Maybe you've got that Rolly Lasermatic XW now, and you want to see, hey, what kind of really cool big thing can I make? Maybe you've got the A70 Max or one of these big lasers. You know, there's a lot of really cool, larger lasers now that you could really make some big framed things. But I would practice on this first. Make sure you've got everything down, because it can be frustrating if you aren't paying attention and learning, especially with putting down the sticky on the, on the back or whatever. Not that hard, but I wouldn't try to do a very large one as my first one. You know what I'm saying? But again, I think it's a great project. When you do the bigger ones, you could use real wood, whatever. I just think this is the most cost-effective way to do it with MDF and paint, and to still be able to sell for a reasonable price and make a profit. A lot of fun. Really, really fun seeing the joy in people's faces when they see these and they love them and they can't wait to have them at their house or give them away to other people. So it's kind of a win-win-win, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate everybody here. If you have questions, comments, whatever, leave them below. If you get this file, you have any trouble with the file itself, leave me a message on Etsy. If you have questions about how to make the file, well, put it here in the video on YouTube. I'd appreciate that. And I will see you in the next one. Lots and lots more fun projects I have coming on the horizon. Like, subscribe again, and I will see you. Bye. Love y'all.